Hi, I'm Don Helgeson, and welcome to PC Warrior Almost Live. Today's guest is joining us from South Africa. Robert Brand has been with the PC Tribe since the very beginning. He is one of our most active members, and we'd love to see it when he joins us on the Zoom meetings, even though he has to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Here we go, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Don Helgeson, coming to you from Nanaimo, British Columbia, Canada. To say I'm excited would be an understatement today. I have the opportunity on the PC Tribe, on the PC Warrior Almost Live, to interview a gentleman who is literally on the other side of the world, actually on the bottom side of the world from where I'm at. We have Robert Brand coming to us from just outside of Cape Town, South Africa. Robert and I have been trying to connect now for a few days, and we managed to figure out a time that we could do this. We're 9 hours apart, but not only are we 9 hours apart, I just want to give a fun fact here. I know I've done this on a previous episode, but Robert and I are 16,454 kilometers apart right now, and 10,224 miles apart for the Americans that are listening. And Robert and I were talking just a little bit beforehand on camera here before we went live with the recording, just talking about how cool this is that a guy from Canada, a guy from South Africa are actually doing this and talking about prostate cancer. So I'm not going to go too much more because I know Robert, who's a super active member of the PC Tribe. He likes to tell his story. He wants to share. He wants to help people. And he's been an active member of our Zoom meetings, coming in all the way for, we're having our Zoom meetings. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning there, and he still joins us. And it's absolutely incredible. So Robert, I'm not going to talk much more because I know you have a story to tell. So if you could please just start from the beginning and let us know. Actually, what I'd like to do is tell us a bit about where you are, and so people understand that, and your story. So I'm turning it over to you. And you're frozen.
Break.
Okay, I got you now.
Yeah, my internet connection is a little bit unstable, but I'm still running a DSL at like 9 or 10 megabits per second, which is really slow. And they are going to put in connect fiber on Wednesday. So we might have a lag here now and then. Sorry, I missed your last like almost minute of talk.
Okay, so I've introduced you. And I'd like you to, right from the beginning, if you could tell us a bit about where you are and a bit about yourself and your story. That's what we're here for. We just want to hear about this.
Okay, fine. I was a police officer for 32 years in South Africa, and well, over that I can talk. We've got we need days and days to talk about that. But and then I retired in 2007. Actually, technically in 2006, I had a kind of a serious heart problem, but also I remember it vividly the day I was in the ICU there, and with the cardiologist. What a character! He stood in front of my bed and he pointed his big old finger at me, and he said to me, "You've got to leave this work. It's going to kill you." That's it. Then as soon as I got home, the day or 2 days, whatever, after, I applied for medical board and they boarded me. And then from there on it went. While I was serving, I don't want to go, actually, I will not go into things in South Africa, but with the change in government, with the so-called democratic elections kind of stuff, man, I just wanted to be a police officer. And then they came with all this political jargon and shit, and they appointed people as senior officers. And geez, I just got fed up, and I applied for long leave, and I worked in Texas we were harvesting silage for about 3 months. I came back, and then after I retired, I just applied to go to back America, work on a farm just for the heck of it. And then I worked on a farm in Minnesota in 2007, and then in 2008, a guy from Colorado, close to Denver, he called me, asked me if I didn't want to go and work for him. And I worked for him from 2008 till 2019, when was my last season. But the cancer started, I think, in 2013. I went to hospital for, I also cannot my heart thingy, whatever. I just have to say this, you know, what amazes me when I read some of the guys post on the PC Tribe, you see the guy goes into this very fine technical jargon as far as this kind of, you know, the disease and the medical. I think I might be one of the most naive patients, or I trust these guys implicitly. Man, I mean, if he described, you know, anyway, cut a long story short, then he did a full blood test, and they came back and they said to me, he's got a urologist there in the hospital, and she came to see me, and she did a biopsy, and it was positive cancer. I think I don't really know, and it's not that I don't care, but it's like it's 7, but it's 4 plus 3 or 3 plus 4. But the fact is, and then they started me up. Actually, I was in well, I was on my way to America, and I thought, oh shit, that is going to be bad. And I asked her, but she didn't suggest. She just gave me the options of brachytherapy and radical surgery. But I spoke to my brother-in-law, and I spoke to 1 or 2 guys. My brother-in-law is a professor in medical science, whatever. You know, at that stage, like the robotic surgery wasn't available in South Africa.
Okay.
So and what I've been told, the side effects of drastical surgery was pretty scary. It was really scary. Scary in the sense of it might happen. You know, one could have gone to the best of surgeons, kind of stuff, and they could have snipped something where they shouldn't have supposed to. Yeah, and you could be stuck for wearing diapers for months and months, or almost maybe for the rest of your life. Or that was the real bad scenario. So I said no, and I said my cancer was at that stage. And then I did the brachytherapy, and then it went super well. Don't ask me the specific time periods. You know, I had to go for blood tests every 3 months, and man, my PSA was low, and it came lower, and it was great. And then at one stage, boop, there it got a jump. I can't remember when. And then they did something else, and then they started with hormone therapy, and from there on, it just, you know, the PSA went low, and it went for a year or whatever. And I think in 2000 and God, I'm terrible with this. 16, I went for blood tests, and then the PSA went up from something like 1.4 or 1 something. It went up to like 80 or something, which was scary. Okay. And I contacted the oncologist here in South Africa, and he said to me, okay, better come back. And I came back earlier, and which I planned to, and they did some more tests. And then they started, because of the scan and whatever thing, they started immediately with, usually they start with, wait, I have to get it around. Usually they start with not radiation, with radiation, and then chemo. But in my case, they started right out with chemo. They started like whatever it chemo for. What is interesting, I never knew that. It's only a couple of months or so. I asked these guys. These guys doesn't decide, you know, it's like if you've got a headache or you've got a specific ailment, there's some prescribed medicine on the counter or over the counter or under the counter, you know, for this ailment, you subscribe this. But as far as chemo is concerned, you've got prostate cancer, but they actually sat like a panel, managed oncologist, nuclear physicists, and a bunch of other people. They sit and decide. They take all your physical condition in consideration, and then they decide on the, maybe mixture is not the right word, but you know, they with their, let's make it, we call it the mixture. So I had chemo, and then I had a round of radiation as well. So 2017, I didn't go back to America. In 2018, I did. And then in 18 again, God, the PSA rose like terribly. And from there on, it's kind of downhill all the way. to a certain degree. So I but as far as cancer in itself is concerned, yeah, it might sound strange to people, but that's one thing I found specifically of the PC that it's not that only I wrote that. One can say, man, quite a few guys said they were on different. I'm not a guy for these Johnny goody two shoes people support groups where you go and you sit around the table or in chairs around and like Alcoholics Anonymous or something you see in the movies.
Yeah.
My name is Robert Brown. I've got home cancer. I hate that shit simply because of what I experienced in the police. Maybe one grew up in this whole thing of cowboys don't cry, but anyway. So I looked at this web page, and I said, nah, not for me, cancel. And then I discovered, man, and from ever since it is just great. I don't know what Tracy did and what you guys do. What the guys, it's just different. Don't ask me why it's different. It's just bloody good to listen, you know.
Yeah.
But so I had, and then now actually this is where I am at the moment. I'm when I went to the hospital for this when I went for my first round of chemo, as I said, they found an embolism, and that was pretty scary. You know, one always say afterwards in hindsight is, if we didn't go, I almost said like that morning, I said to my wife, I'm feeling too crap to go. But if we didn't go, I wouldn't have ended up in the ICU. And they wouldn't have found, and as anyone know, embolism is vital. It is like whenever. And then they found, they did a scan, and then they found it to be a static embolism, okay, if my word is correct. And now with the treatment, oh my goodness gracious, it is terrible. Oh. I don't know what they give me, but I have to just to bear with this. I have to bear this out. I still want to get out of this wheelchair. I'm kind of wheelchair bound, but I can get up and get into the bed and little things like that. But this, for me, this whole cancer deal was, you know, sitting thinking of it, it is actually a bloody great experience. Now to motivate that, it's not difficult, but it is difficult. It's very negative, you know, if you read the physical stuff. But the positive things that I've experienced from what people will tell me or talk to me about this, or how people would behave towards me, or I see two people there, and I have a total different outlook on life, as far as not the total different, but man, I tend to look at things in a totally different manner. You know, there's so many things, especially now that one kind of wheelchair bound. Little things. I think it's so many things that one accepted for granted, like to be able to stand up next to the wash basin and brush your teeth.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I have to sit down, but patience. And then I think one of the most important things is, I am not going to mention, I can't remember, one or two guys I've mentioned on the group. And it was pretty obvious to me, guys who doesn't really have a support group. This is one thing one cannot do without support, without proper support. I'm not talking about psychologists or psychiatrists kind of thing, but really people who knows what they're talking about. I think a couple of times things that really, I have to say, pisses me off. You get these people and they would come and tell you, oh, Robert, you're strong, you're going to make it. Fuck, they don't know me. Sorry, they don't know me. They don't know how strong I am, you know. And you learn to accept what people say, but otherwise, it's and then now I'm lying in bed or I'm feeling crap, and I think of what happened. I look at pictures of Robert. My God, what an inspiration he was, isn't it, Don?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just without, the one day I managed to talk to him a very few words, and actually, and I called him, and he said, well, he's not feeling good, but okay, I said fine, and I was pretty sorry I bothered him, and then then he called me next day, and he apologized, and then he asked me, Robert, what can I do for you? So I mentioned it on the page. It was just unbelievable. That is a way a person, anyway. But then if one tend to think about it, cancer is bad. But man, if I look back on my life, wow, what a life I had. Being in the police, things I did, I'm not going to elaborate on things I did, It's like I have to mention very briefly, part of our duties was, before we had an official VIP protection unit in the police, whenever the like cabinet minister or a very VIP guy politically VIP guy would visit an area, it was our responsibility to safeguard him. So one day we had this one guy, it was way up in Namibia, and that guy ended up the next morning with the crocodile next to in his bed.
A crocodile.
No, but not a big one. No, not really.
It doesn't matter.
The secret of catching a crocodile in the evening, a certain amount of alcohol had to be consumed, and then you get in this little skiff thingy with like a 5 horsepower and you with flashlights, and a crocodile's eyes would glow like almost red in at night. And the thing is, you have to look, if you see, okay, the ice is about this far apart from you, so, okay, grab him, it's a small one. But what would be the problem is 2 big ones lying next to each other, something like that. And we once, things we did, but I was proud. I was so proud to be a police officer. I think I tried, in hindsight, I really think I tried my best. I did. Oh man, I was in crap, in troubles lots of times. But and one to compare our life now that one is physically faced with death, one say, oh God, I'm faced with death. I'm going to die in 6 months or a year now. You've been faced with death your whole life. It is just one does realize in hindsight. I believe in God. I believe in the hand of God. What He did, the hand He played in the role He played in my life, and how it is unbelievable. The things, how sorry, my English is leaving me in a little bit of a lurch now. The good He do for me without me. Who the heck am I? Why do this thing? But anyway. And if I think back in my career, then that's another thing that I experience also is whenever in the unit that I was attached to, the specialized units, one would say go on an operation, and you would plan an operation where in a neighboring country. Can you imagine the political crap from that? You go in there and you black painted, and you got your guns and you shit and you prepare, and if you approach this place, this point of where this guy is, and you plan before the time, if this happens, I know I'm covered because Chris will cover my back from there. I don't have to worry, and he knows I'm there. I was in control of my situation. But ever since one have been faced with cancer, I realized I'm not control of my life at all. Absolutely not. There's this whereas as far as the type of chemo, the doctors, everything, it's not in my hands. And so many a time people have told me, maybe it's a kind of a radical outlook, but this is the way I believe. They say, oh, just pray. I know God, but to what I think in this sense this is my belief. Like I don't know, you have children.
I do, yeah.
You have children, Don?
Yeah.
But the thing is, when they were small, tiny little babies, they didn't have to ask you when you come back from the job to stop at the store to buy milk, bread, or whatever they need, stuff they need. You as a father know what your duties was as far as bringing up your child is concerned. So and maybe once or twice I was in a situation, and I would kind of remind my dad of something, whatever it was he was supposed to do for me. And then he kind of flipped his lip. Don't tell me I won't forget, something like that. And that is where I get to it. It's not necessary to tell God. He knows exactly where I am at this moment.
Yeah.
And if it is his hands, in his hands, or whatever will be done. It's his will. I talk to him in my manner, sitting at the backboards and things like that. So that's why this is where I am at as far as my religion. Not that religion isn't important. It is important for some it's not, whatever your beliefs is. But I leave that part. Leave it to him. He knows what to do. I don't have to remind him.
Yeah.
Or am I wrong to say that?
No. What a great analogy, though. I mean, that's and it's great to be there. To be where you're at right now and to be there and be at peace with that. So yeah, your story is absolutely incredible. It's inspiring. And I knew you contacted me very early on once you found the PC tribe, because you knew I was a police officer as well. And that was something I meant to mention during the introduction here.
Yeah.
But I just got so excited to talk about and to hear your story. But the connection that we've had over the last few months and being police officers, and the fact that a Canadian Mountie is even chatting with, retired Canadian Mountie is chatting with a retired police officer from South Africa with combined experience of about 60-65 years is pretty cool.
Yeah. One thing is true, but I've personal experience when in the independence process in Namibia, they had this UN forces. God, thousands came to Namibia to implement the independence. And then there was a SIVPOL. We worked with a guy from the Mounties, and then we worked with policemen from all over the world: Holland, Sweden, Indonesia. We are the same. Doesn't matter, you speak different languages, but when you get together, there's this kind of bond. But I have to say, and please, I don't hope anybody will take exception. We had in the area where I worked, I was responsible for. There was a UN station or office, and they had a bunch of Egyptian policemen. I'm not going to elaborate.
Okay.
Really. Geez, but what's funny, well, okay, I'm a guy for sports, so the guys they were from Sweden, and there was a guy from Netherlands, policeman. We had to put these Egyptians in their place, Yeah. They were so arrogant, and they promoted all of them to like, if you take in the band, like captains, like seniors. I would. And so I remember one of these guys. I can't, man. He looked to me. What is this cartoon stuff? This Hager, the horrible. But anyway, it just looked like Hager. But anyway, so what I did, I tied. They had their car park, and I tied just an ordinary smoke grenade under the frame, under the like the tie rod to the steering rod or something. And I just opened the release pin, and I tied a piece of string onto the pole or some pole wherever they were parked. So, and due to what they said, whenever we guys from the South African police went on patrol or investigation or something, they had to monitor us. Yeah. Just to see that we won't commit some terrible atrocities to the people. So what I did enjoy, okay, it would be good. I would go to the office and said, listen, I'm going on a patrol at 12 o'clock. Just get you guys ready. So what I did, I came in there and said, I'm going on patrol. And I just ran back into my pickup. And there I go, I go. And these Egyptians, they popped into their Land Cruiser. 2 Land Cruisers, and man, they would just after they took off, it's got green smoke and red smoke. Yeah. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. We found it. I mean, but when I come to policemen, man, we're the same.
We are. Absolutely. No, I agree with you. I've met police officers from all over the world as well. So no, I've appreciated that connection right from the beginning. So I do have a few questions, and I guess you can tell stories
Okay.
like that now because you're retired and they're not going to come after you. So you talked about the brachytherapy. Can you maybe just explain for those who may not be aware what that treatment is?
Brachytherapy is like not nuclear. It's like the size of a rice grain. It's no, not nuclear, not nuclear. Say again. Just how? Xavier. Well, sorry, it's radioactive. Radioactive.
Yeah, radioactive.
And they implanted, and then with the radioactive, it just kills the cancer cells. I was just very unfortunate, like the oncologist explained to me. This tiny little bugger. He came out somewhere and he took his funny way. You know, that happens. And even
yeah. How old were you when you had that treatment?
Okay, I'm 65 now. 13 years ago.
Yeah. And did you have many people to talk to get experiences from? Like, I guess where I'm getting at is that could you have spoken to somebody who had done this treatment or a radical prostatectomy? And
no. They actually have it that they have those people available. You know, like social workers, psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever. They're at the chiropractic. They've got all these help available. But man, I was on my way to Colorado. I didn't have time for crap. Yeah. Just put that stuff in, let me go. Yeah. But unfortunately, both my brothers-in-law are my one brother is a professor in a pathologist, and my other brother is a specialist, practical surgeon, practical general, whatever. So, and he also had prostate cancer, so we could talk. Okay. And he told me this and that, yeah. Okay. So what kind of support network do you have? So obviously, I can hear your wife in the background there. That's fantastic that she's there to assist you when you need it. So I guess what I'm getting at is that I know for me, I have an amazing support network at home, but that has limitations. And so, and you touched on it earlier about the ability to have some sort of community. And in this case, I mean, COVID didn't hurt. I mean, it actually caused people to get together more commonly with Zoom meetings and that. But maybe explain a bit about what your support network has been and what it's meant to you. My support network from the beginning, you know, when one is initially diagnosed with cancer, it's kind of crappy, and you just realize it's nothing I can do about it. And, but my support network was basically the same as it is now. But now being more serious over time, it's more intense. The people, but as far as it does have its limitations, and I can tell you this, I can absolutely. My Tiani is listening to me there, and by golly, I'm blessed with a wife or a person who supports me in whatever way. And it's just unbelievable. And, you know, I read one or two of the guys, I said, where this one guy mentioned when his cancer came worse, his fiance left him, and kind of stuff. Wow, it must have been terrible. You know, but anyway, and over the years, it's kind of stayed stable. But since with the PC tribe, I don't know, I can't put my finger right on it. Man, guys would send in jokes or I just found the people, the PC tribe guys, just like-minded. Yeah. I can open up, you know, for things like a guy, maybe for example, as erectile dysfunction. Personally, I think, and I hope nobody's going to offend or be offended. Not with AIDS, I accept it, and the oncologist told me this is going to happen. The urologist told me this is going to, and I just accepted it. Yeah, it's that. Some guys, you know, I feel like, and please, I apologize if I'm going to offend not everybody, but you can see in the way this person writes, my God, you still have a freaking life. Forget erectile freaking dysfunction. You know, you're alive. God, yeah. You know, sorry, So that is me. That's the way I feel. But no, but support it is. My children, it is unbelievable. Friends.
Mhm. And I think, like, and you touched on it, like, so I'll take you back to about a week ago. I think it was last weekend, and it was about 6 o'clock in the morning here, and I was on the phone in my living room talking to you, and
Yeah.
I come back to bed, I don't know, about 6:30 in the morning, and she goes, "Who are you talking to?" And I said, "I was talking to Robert in South Africa." And I was like, "How cool is that?" And it really was, it was cool. And I think that's, and I'm obviously going to toot the horn of the PC tribe, but I found in general, and I think you would agree with this, that the opportunity to speak to people who are going through the same thing. And I think
Absolutely.
that's what makes the pages like the PC tribe really important, is that we can talk. And you have made it, you've made it your mission to, when you can, to join the Zoom meetings that we have
Yeah.
every 2 weeks. And I'll tell you what, for everything you're going through, your personality and your
Thank you.
attitude is positive, it's infectious, and I'm glad there's people like you in the group.
Thank you.
So and that's why I really wanted to connect with you and do this.
Right.
And for people as well, to have a perspective from somebody else that's not in North America. We have a few people that are in different parts of the world, like yourself, and maybe you could touch on a little bit about what your experience has been with the healthcare system there, because United States and Canada are quite a bit different, but I really have no idea what it's like there.
What I remember, Tracy went through this to get a MRI scan.
Mm-hmm.
The hoops he had to jump through to get the MRI scan, I still can't believe it. And I talked to him. For me, okay, I have to something as far as thankful. There's my perception on the word thankful is or the concept of thankful. I say, whereas people, they say, oh, I'm thankful for this and this. Do you really know what you mean when you say thankful? Think again. Just think again. What are you? But anyway, I can write the list as long as from here to wherever for things I'm thankful for. But for my medical aid, or we call it medical aid, you call it medical insurance, it's the same story, different tune. I never had any problem. They've got our medical care is of top-notch standards, world standard. They've even got, I don't know if they still have it, but a common thing, they call it medical tourism. People would come to South Africa for heart bypass surgery, for things, because of price-wise. I've compared prices, for example, with the medical care in America, and a very dear friend of mine, he also passed away with cancer. And the amounts of money, he was a veteran, but all the hoops he had to go through just to get proper treatment, to radiation. And like Tracy, just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Now, our as far as that is concerned, but now we're touching on politics, our national health care. I'm not going to say nothing. I think I plead the fifth. Okay. Or something. It is just. I just the other night I was lying there in the hospital, and a sister came. What a lovely person! It's just astonishing how lovely person she is. And a close-up, a black person. That not that why I mention she's black. It's the fact is, with the medical care, that we've got a government hospital. It's called Tygerberg. Now, Tygerberg Hospital was once rated as one of the best cancer or, my golly, specialist hospitals in the world. Now I won't even take my freaking dog there for treatment. But I asked the sister the other day, I told her, what do you think would have happened to me if I didn't have medical care? She told me, Mr. Brandt, they would have pushed you from the one room to the other room to the other room. And even after that, you would have been lucky for a doctor to see. That is the situation. And to me, as far as healthcare is concerned, it's actually heartbreaking. There, I guess in my town, when you look, our town is not very big, but I guess there are quite a few people men who have prostate cancer. They cannot get the care they're supposed to get. Whereas Don, I got right from the wood. I don't know whether, no, I didn't mention it. there's some treatment available in America, man, not stem cell, something fancy doodah thing, but it will cost me in US dollar terms for that treatment in the US, like 10 or 8 or 10 million dollars. In my currency converted, it will be like around about 8 or 5 million dollars, the treatment. And it's not to say it's effective. With the study group they had, it's this and the success rate. You know, I said to Tihani, I had, but that's what I think, I had the best care available there was for me up until now. And if these people say there's nothing more they can do for me, I expect, because after this embolism thing now, the doctor said, we must forget about the cancer for a while now. Let's get you better and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
I guess I might be done with it and then carry on for what's left of our life. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Robert, you're one hell of an ambassador for this, and I'm so glad we had a chance to do this. But before we go, I just wanted to see if there was anything else that you wanted to cover off regarding your story, your treatment. I personally, I think you and I could talk for hours about.
Oh yes, yeah, that is. But this whole thing, people, they when they tell you you've got cancer, you must be strong. What is strong? Do you really know how strong you are? Do you really know your limitations? You learn so much of yourself. You learn so much of people. It is unbelievable, but just keep your eyes open and accept your situation. Do what you can do. There's nothing more I can do, you know, kind of thing. That is basically, that's more or less it, you know.
Yeah.
One can.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the next opportunity for a Zoom meeting where you can join us. And I know we need to try to set up a time where you don't have to join us at 3 or 4 in the morning. That 9-hour time zone change from where I'm at, and I think it's about 6 hours from the East Coast of the United States. It does play a little havoc for us, so. But,
yeah, that's for sure.
Well, Robert, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I was going to ask, but maybe this is something for off camera. You keep telling me you want to tell me the story about the I don't know if that's appropriate for what we're doing, or if we need to do
no, it's pretty. I'll try and be brief. Allow me. Yeah, it is. I was attached to the bomb disposal unit as well, and I lived in East London. Now East London is a city like big city. It's something I would guess like Denver, Colorado, about that size, a big city. So one morning early, I was on standby. They called from the main post office where they received and sort parcels. Now it's kind of, you go not downstairs, but sub base level, kind of stuff. And I came there, and obviously I took the dog handler with me, and that is a suspicious parcel, and the dog reacted positively. So okay, say go. And then we worked in pairs, and I told Johan, okay, evacuate the building now. Now I'm talking about like 8:30 in the morning, 8:45. That is peak time, you know. Now the procedure is, I evacuated this whole post office building, the 2 banks opposite the street. We closed down the streets. Man, you know what was nice? When you're in bomb disposal unit and I was just a sergeant by then, I think. And then some of the police officers came there, like colonels and kind of big necks. I tell them what to do. Oh, I just loved it. I said, you tell those guys, do this, do that. Anyway, and so I took at my equipment I needed to use, and I sent Johan upstairs. And I looked at this. I took an X-ray, and the X-ray tow showed like a long thing. We called it gray matter, and electrical wires and a power source. So obviously, and the fact that the dog reacted, and the X-ray showed, but I didn't want to take chance to move it. I didn't want to use our bomb car, a little trailer thing, you put it in there and drive out. I mean, safe and express. Anyway, so I decided to hand penetrators. Now that in itself, you do it during training course. Oh, man, you take this piece of brown paper with your scalpel and you cut, open this as far as you can go, and you open it, and up to stage I managed to open it. My golly, it was a sex toy, a dildo, a freaking monster, big black ribbed one.
Oh my God. Oh,
Okay, now this whole consternation. Can you imagine, like your city downtown? The people were crowds, people, the media was there. I know, and I called Johan on the radio, and I called him. Well, actually, we had him by way of communicating, or I called up and I said, Johan, come. And usually, what we did, you sit down there, you kind of looked at this, whatever it was, and I smoked pipe by then, and I smoked my pipe. Man, you smoked that pipe like, with the nurse, adrenaline kind of story. Now, you know what our biggest problem was? Okay, then Johan went up and he told the police officer in charge, it's all clear, you can go. Open up the streets and people can return. How are we going to tell the media, the national media, the freaking international media, this whole consternation? Man, it was so funny. We went up. You must see it in a context research. So we packed up everything, and I drove out of this basement thing, and I came there, and the media was there, stuck their freaking camera in my face, and the police relations, some officer, I have to talk to the media. And I said, no, it was just plain cool and calm. It was just a suspicious parcel. All the indications it could have been, and this and that, and I left.
yeah.
But can you imagine? I had to tell in the whole freaking world of South Africa this black.
Yeah.
Kind of irony. I think that's what one can call an irony.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, what a great story. And I think you handled it very well with your chat with the media. You weren't lying to them, but
Yes.
anyway, Robert, thank you so much. Until next time, I look forward to
Yes.
hearing more of you. And we have to, you know what, you and I have to connect sidebar one of these days, and I'd love to talk
Yeah.
more. I've got a story I'll share with you that's very similar,
Right.
and we'll do it another time.
Right. Yeah, and it wishes maybe also not the right word, prayer not the right word, but that this group of us must go from, it just goes from strength to strength, and person really, and thank you for the work you guys are doing, really.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, Robert, stand
Okay,
by.
keep well.
I'm going to stick
Okay.
with you after I stop recording.
Okay.
So again, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you everyone for joining us today on PC Warrior Almost Live. And a special thank you to Robert for joining us all the way from South Africa. If you're interested in joining me for an interview, please contact me and we'll see if we can get you on the air. Have a great day, everyone.